My sister found the tapes in the attic after the funeral, shoved into a battered box, yellowed and bowed, like something that had absorbed 100 summers and secrets. She slipped 3 into a Ziploc as if the plastic could stop memory from leaking out. "I think Dad meant for you to have these," she said, but her voice had the flatness of someone speaking through rain. At the time, I let the cardboard feel satisfyingly ordinary old home movies, a laugh at nostalgia. 2 weeks later, on a steady rainy Wednesday with a bottle emptied between the couch cushions and the house smelling of wet paper, I dug them out. The labels were handwritten, careful, Springfield trip, 93 first steps, 1994, Xmas, 95. I wrestled my old high-8 camcorder out of a closet, braided together a mess of cords, and fed the oldest tape in. The television sighed to life with the soft blue hiss of old electronics. Static. Then light. A field. Summer scents leaked from the image-cut grass, diesel from a distant truck, a laughter that felt like a warm coat. A woman I didn't recognize cradled a baby I barely remembered being. She had curly brown hair, sunglasses pressed against her forehead, and she laughed the way someone laughs when they are made whole by the presence of another. The voice behind the camera was practiced, kind. "That's it, sweetheart. Get a close-up of those chubby cheeks." She winked at the lens, and then, as if remembering there was more than tenderness in the world, glanced past the camera. The image wavered. Far beyond the picnic blankets where the tree line met the sky, a figure stood. Dark clothing, motionless, watching. "Do you see that?" the woman asked. The man behind the camera made a small joke that sounded like, "Cover. Probably just someone out for a walk." His voice thinned. She said, "That's the same man from yesterday, Frank." The camera jerked. Static. A cut. I rewound until my thumb hurt and watched it again, the chill steadying at the base of my skull. The more I tried to tell myself the figure was coincidental, the more of the footage refused to oblige. The second tape began at home first steps. Same woman, same man behind the camera, but the place didn't match my childhood photographs. The wallpaper was wrong. The couch was a color my memories had never named. When I stumbled forward and fell into her waiting arms, she kissed me on the cheek and said, "You did it, my big boy." Through the living room window, beyond the fence, there he was again, staring, unmoving. I scrutinized the paused frame. Black clothes, long dark hair, pale skin, a face barely visible but sharp enough to cut. The man behind the camera stepped in, broad-shouldered, jaw like cast concrete glasses. Not the man the world had called my father. He kissed the woman's forehead. The three of them made a perfect family. On tape, the camera kept rolling as if to convince the world and itself. Then, Xmas 95. Warm lights, crooked tree, the radio pulling holiday fuzz across the image. My little hands tore paper. The man behind the camera, Frank, adjusted the angle and smiled. The camera inadvertently caught the hallway just beyond the living room. Movement in the doorway. A tall figure in dark clothes, hair like midnight, standing too still beneath the twinkle lights. My mother, my real mother. Frank. She. Frank, he's here. The air changed on the tape. Frank moved fast, trying to wedge himself between the stranger and the family. The stranger stepped forward, and a glint caught in the light. A crowbar. The footage goes loud without sound. A scream. Paper rustling. A table slapped aside. The camera fell behind the couch, its lens trapped on the carpet as chaos thundered outside its frame. For the fraction it could see, Frank was bleeding, half crumpled, breath ragged, heavy boots. Then, the thing I knew as my father's short, terrible movements, the crowbar arcing and dazed. The tape tore into static. When the image returned, it was different. Another house, another tree, a quieter Christmas. I was older, calm, a battered dinosaur in my lap. Someone behind the camera, my father asked if I liked it. I pressed the dinosaur's back. It roared on the tape, a thin, mechanized sound that did nothing to mask the muffled crying down a hall or the plea that threaded through the static, "Please don't hurt my baby." I sat very still after the screen went black. The camcorder hummed like a small animal. My body felt like a borrowed coat. My hands were foreign to my own wrists. I thought of Frank and of the woman whose laugh had filled a field. I thought of the man who had been everywhere and nowhere, the one who had both visited and replaced. The house around me felt like a listening thing. Rain made a soft, relentless tapping on the windows. The TV was a dark mouth. I realized with a small scraping pull of nausea that in all the footage there were no other children, no brothers or sisters, only me being passed like fruit from one set of hands to another. Only the same figure at the edges, constant and patient, like a promise kept. I reached for my phone with hands that shook, my sister's number blurred into my thumb. The first ring was a small stab of hope. The second felt less hopeful. She answered, "Close, closer than the attic had been. I thought you might call. I watched them," I said. I heard myself explain. The words became clumsy. The tasting of them on my tongue felt fresh and foul. I told her about the field, about Frank, about the way my mother had cried in the other house. I told her about the man in the dark clothes. There was a long breath on the lines. "You shouldn't have," she said finally, not angry, not quite a command, an ache. Why did Dad label them like that? Why did he give them to me? My voice dropped to a whine. There's more, isn't there?" She hesitated, then, small as a broken thing, said, "There are more. Dates no one can remember. Ones after Mom, after the year the neighbors said the house changed." He kept them in the chest at the back of the attic. He called it Nate's box. We never opened it together. He told me not to. What did he mean? My chest felt raw. I could hear the rain like a clock counting down. There was a tiny, ugly sound, like paper being folded and folded again. "Don't go up there," she said. "Please, Nate, don't." The line went dead.